Hello, and welcome to this conversation with Cierra Baker. So I am Nathan Poirier. I am a doctorate student of sociology at Michigan State University, and I'm also involved with the Institute for Critical Animal Studies. Cierra, who we'll be talking with today, is a local vegan entrepreneur in the food business based in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Cierra has started their work and posts consistently on Instagram. And Cierra is an activist in communities of color, with people of color, and in communities that are underrepresented in the vegan and plant-based space. So, Cierra, hello and welcome. Thank you for being here to talk with me today.
All right, thank you for having me. Glad to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah, yes, of course. Definitely me as well. So, wanted to start first with just kind of asking you um, about your journey towards veganism. Can you describe that? Maybe some important influences or just kind of the journey that brought you there?
My journey started in 2019. Me and my boyfriend, we basically were just kind of looking for a new way of eating that just kind of helped us feel better and help us perform better in the gym because we were going doing starting our weightlifting journey and stuff like that.
Mm,
We had tried pescatarianism for a while, and that was going good. But we just found like it was easy just to fall off from that with different meats and so we actually for a while we just started eating just a regular diet with no pescatarianism before we went vegan. And my boyfriend is the one that brought the idea to me because he had just seen more articles and information about veganism. And so I kind of had the thought in the back of my head, and what really motivated me to actually try it was I seen a video from a very prominent influencer now, Tabitha Brown. A lot of her activism started off as challenges. So she would
mm,
challenge a lot of her followers to try veganism for 30 days. And because I guess scientifically, it takes 30 days to form a habit. So she said to take 30 days and dedicate your time to eating that way. And so I just took myself up for the challenge. And how I did that was I went on Pinterest and looked up a whole bunch of different recipes, specifically recipes I already knew how to make, like spaghetti and tacos, and learned different like vegan alternatives for them. So in that's where my passion for just the culinary arts of it all, just creating different things, especially from basic vegetables like mushrooms have been one of my favorite from the start of my beginning of my journey, especially just of how versatile they are. And
mm,
I would just post random pictures that I had took of my meals on like Twitter and Facebook, and I got a lot of interaction from my friends saying that you should start documenting this on Instagram and just make a page just for your journey, so people can interact and you can post recipes and things like that. So then on the start of 2020, that's when I created my Instagram, Meatless Melanin. And from there, that's where I shared all my recipes. I would share different tips and tricks I would do when I'm going out to eat, and things that help me transition. And I just got a really good interaction from people like just all over, especially in the Michigan area, but even people outside in the East Coast, and different influencers. And so it just kind of grew from there. And I just got more consistent with my posting, and just more and more people around the Kalamazoo area heard about me. And that's where more people from the community started asking if I could start providing my meals, to sell for the community. And at first I was a little apprehensive because this was the height of the pandemic. And I know a lot of people were nervous about going out to eat. So, and as well as I wasn't working at the time. So I was still collecting um, payments from my job as we were off for the COVID time. So I just took that opportunity to kind of just bank on, just take a chance on myself and really kind of test my skills that I kind of taught myself, and started just selling plates out of my parents' house, and was doing that for a while, and it just was a great turnout. And from there, I'm still growing my food business. Hopefully, by the start of this year, I'm going to be in an actual licensed facility, so people be able to have a physical location that we can share on Google and things like that. So yeah, I'm having good plans, good ideas for the future Meatless Melanin this year. So yeah, that's what.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool that this whole journey started uh, just because you wanted to eat better, right? I mean, that's kind of just the foundational idea, but then this could turn out to be a whole life trajectory. Um, so many people go vegan and maybe stay vegan, but don't necessarily turn it into a whole enterprise like you. So I think that's part of what's really interesting and cool about you. And what you're doing is, yeah, people don't take those leaps, and you're really integrating yourself into the community, and even wider than that, like you just said, well beyond Michigan, um, through all this. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Um, so you said your I guess I don't know what to call it yet. Your sort of independent business was called Meatless Melanin. So I kind of have an idea of what the title might sort of mean, but can you explain that? Why'd you pick that? And I guess what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so the idea, how I originally came about the idea was that I because if anyone follows me on social media, I'm terrible at coming up with names. Like,
Hmm.
all my social media is literally just my first and last name. So coming up with this actual tag for the Instagram page, I knew it was eventually going to fall into the name for a business. So what I really wanted to focus on was it um, emphasizing the idea of veganism, but from a cultural perspective. Me being a Black woman and not being so I identified now, like in the vegan community, and just being so misunder or just underrepresented in general, or now I see where the shift changes. I'm seeing more so now that it's not so much of a healthy promotion of food, because now, especially, which I'll probably get more into later on, about the promotion of just veganism, of just the processed foods that are kind of coming more into light and things like that. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure it was not about the veganism that you can buy. It was more so about just the holistic aspect of it, and you know how much of it is more of a lifestyle and more than pertaining to just what you eat, because a lot of people know what you eat involves a lot of ways what you think, culturally, politically. Food is a big aspect. So I just kind of wanted it to represent just the holistic part of the lifestyle, as well as it being based in the passion and the love I have for my culture, and what is missing, or the roots that we haven't been able to connect to for such a long time, because we've had these identities and in our culture based on food, like so heavily, soul food being based in poultry dishes, and overly greased foods and things like that. When there was a time, especially, when we had limited resources, we used the things that we could grow and the things that was just naturally from the earth, that really created our sustenance and really created the soul and the culture of, these communities. So yeah, it was just something I really wanted to be a statement, and for it to still be approachable for any community, but to see it through my perspective.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I think it's not only a cool vision, but that you have like whatever it would be, the fortitude or the initiative to again see it through, because this sort of thing is not easy. What you're trying to do, right? I mean, it takes a lot of work. Even just transitioning to veganism can be a bit of work for people who aren't used to it. But then again, taking it that step further is especially, I think, commendable. Yeah, so a lot of good stuff. Um, so where are you at right now with getting an actual establishment for your restaurant? Is that what you would call it? That'd be accurate?
Yeah, I would say right now it's more like a grab and go service, because the facility is a rented kitchen space. So it would literally just me using that rented time to like pick up orders or pre-orders, and just spending that time all day just pushing out orders, people calling, and we bringing it outside for people. So that's where I want to start, because just financially and just ethically, I just want to be able to get my food out to people kind of the most efficient way I know possible. And
Mhm.
until I'm able to, get my business going to where I can create the funds and get loans for a physical building, I feel like this rented kitchen space is going to be a great opportunity for people in the community to have an established space and established hours on the weekends. They know that they can come and have my food.
Right, right. So when you get like an establishment, beyond beyond what you're doing now. So I believe you did say this, but I guess just want to make sure and check. But you plan on calling it Meatless Melanin? Like that name is just you're gonna stay with that?
Yeah, it's just it's a name that's really stuck with me, and it's like on all like my labeling things like that.
Mhm.
I originally called my meal service Meatless Melanin Meals, but I just kind of feel like it's just a little bit too much. So I feel like Meatless Melanin
Sure.
is a good enough title. And then of course, I'm not like dead set on it. It sounds like a good like a good restaurant idea to me, but yeah, I'm always willing to, especially with another location. I'm definitely willing to change the ideas on that, but my brand will always be Meatless Melanin.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, and I'm just curious, partly for myself, because I'm in Michigan, so whenever I can, I want to be able to patron whatever you're doing at the time, because I want to definitely come back and have more. So I want to know what I'm looking for, but also for others. If you were, gonna change the name, I'd want to put that out here so that others would know how to follow you. But looks like in general, they can follow you at least through social media. Will always be Meatless Melanin. Is that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to keep it central across the board for that reason, like you
Yeah.
said, so everyone can be able to find me. I just Googled the name. I did that for like licensing purposes, but I Googled Meatless Melanin, and so far I'm still the only ones that show up on the top searches. So we're still
Mhm.
with that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a catchy name. Yeah, it seems to do reflect a lot of what you've explained so far that you're trying to do, and that's meaningful for you. So, for what that's worth, but I like it. I think it works very well. Um, yeah. So I guess your primary or your initial motivation for veganism was kind of more personal and health, right? Um, have like the other sorts of aspects kind of, well, I guess there's also so there's also the cultural aspect, so that's beyond personal. It relates to you, but health is much more right directly to ourselves, but cultural is beyond ourselves but includes ourselves. So um, have the other aspects, do other aspects of veganism also inform your work and activism these days?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I feel like on social media, I feel like that's the directive I want to focus on. Like transitioning on, because I feel like the start of my Instagram was showing basically the starter meals and the starter things that I did to, just keep me motivated and keep me eating within the vegan guidelines. But now I want to focus on what actually, after that month, what actually kept me in this lifestyle, because that was really the monumental thing, and not only in the way I ate, but just the way I perceive life, my life, and basically the grand scheme of every being in this world. And that really grew from just the education aspect. I felt like once I got a good grounding in the food and things that I enjoy eating, I knew that that alone wouldn't help people just to want to eat different, because it's so easy just to go out and get a meal under $10, that's hot, convenient, and it'll fill you up and do all the things that you think your body needs. But what will really change that idea of literally change an idea of what was so enjoyable is not even food anymore. Like, it's not even something that you see as a means of sustenance. So um I really delved into the documentaries first. Netflix was so helpful with, and at the time, Game Changers was coming out, so it was so much social media interactions and posting so much helpful links even after the movie was posted. Um, I really enjoyed Invisible Vegan, which that's really sparked my interest in the culture aspect of veganism and plant based living. And just to number off, plenty of other ones. I did a post on my Instagram that I can give you the link, or somewhere we can link it in this video, where I just all the resources that just like truly just like blew my mind of just all these facts, as well as different books and articles. And um my thing, I think, is just, I don't know what nature it is, maybe my Aries nature or my Capricorn rising sign, but once I find a passion, I delve in it. Like, I'm just I want to know all about it. I want to know all the information I can know. So especially with the lifestyle being so new, and I knew it was going to be new to everyone around my family, because I seldom have anyone in my family that is even vegetarian. So I knew it was going to be different, and I knew I had to be informed so I can inform others and let people know, like, I didn't just stop eating one day. Like, I found different recipes. I found different ways of living, and it's beneficial not only to me but for the whole world. Like, and come to find out, like, scientifically, this is kind of how we're supposed to be eating anyway. So it just and I feel like once I allowed it, just the information just flowed in, and it just constantly just kept just getting more and more informed, and being able to be secure and understand, like, this isn't just a diet, this isn't something, this can definitely be something I can do for the rest of my life. So that was something that was really important, is just getting all the information that I needed in order to not only be a service to myself, to understand what scientifically happened in my body, as well as the impact of what I'm doing for the rest of the world. And just just helping along people that way. And like I mentioned before, the culture aspect, when I watched The Invisible Vegan, and watching these stories that sound so similar to mine, of people that just grew up in Black households, and were just used to eating what they were told to eat, eating what was available, and not really understanding what was going on physically, or understand not understanding that there were other food options or better options out there, simply because these recipes have been so ingrained into us, and it's just second nature. And I would say I had the luxury of not being a kid that was so much in the kitchen growing up, because I didn't really have any, recipes I passed down. As soon as my mom said food was ready, I was at the table. So,
Hmm.
once I got to college, I kind of had that bit of struggle of, okay, so now that mom's not cooking, where do I go? So
Yeah.
from there, just the unhealthy eating habits just kind of kept falling into, making sure I had enough money for the convenience of just being able to eat out and things. So really, when I had went plant-based, I had the idea of like, okay, I don't want to completely lose, all of my culture. Like, I don't want to not be able to enjoy the same foods. Like, if everyone's eating mac and cheese, I want to eat mac and cheese. I want to be able to eat greens. I want to be able to eat fried foods. Like, I don't want to be able to lose that, because that comfort is, what carried me through my childhood, what,
Yeah.
kept me laughing, kept me smiling. But there is a healthier way of doing this. We just have not brought the worlds together. So that's kind of, especially in 2020, is something I really want to focus on, the intersections of those worlds of, healthy food can be good for you and comforting and a good time and something, that can be shared and ate with your hands, and brought to a community and enjoyed all together. It doesn't have to be a separate vegan section for the vegans, or, for the meat. There's, because
Hmm.
food is community, and, the more we know, the more we can all come together and not only make healthier food choices, just every day by day choice, every, choosing, making the choice to have a better impact than, you did before you had the information that you have.
Right. Yeah, yeah, those sorts of individual decisions, what maybe are ultimately individual decisions, can still have a much bigger impact beyond the individual, kind of that personal is political type thing. Um, yeah, yeah, it was really cool listening to you. Really, this is great. So it sounds like you are essentially completely self-taught, like in terms of vegan knowledge as well as cooking. Is that true? Did you just learn how to do all this on your own from your motivation?
Yeah, yeah, I would say, if I had to give like an MVP award to any app, it would be Pinterest, because as soon as I typed in vegan there, it here comes like hundreds of thousands of not only recipes but articles,
Mm.
replacements, things, informationals about like what could be happening in your body, what could you be feeling when you first go plant-based, because, it's a different chemical change in your body when you're changing what you eat. So yeah, from there, it just, like I said, and I'm a very spiritual person, and I truly believe, like, once you allow a certain truth in your life, so many things can allow to flow in. So like I said, once I truly allow myself to the truth of, okay, there is another way of eating besides eating another live being, more and more information just reaffirmed that truth for me. And it just became so apparent like, to where I just tell people now, like, I don't see it as food. Like, I understand, like, empathetically wise, like, I understand how you could have been you enjoy it, and, I
Mhm.
understand why you still, enjoy and still see it as a mean of sustenance that you need, because that's what you've been, conditioned to know. It's still, it's a little pig, it's a little cow. Like, why? Like, as many as fruit, it's like hundreds of different of fruits and vegetables and different, proteins and legumes. There's so many different combinations that, ideas that people haven't even thought of yet, of literally just these basic ingredients. And I feel like that is just, it's more mind blowing, more creative than like any meat dish or, meat centered dish that I've seen personally. So it's
Mhm.
just something that's just like, it's so new and it's just so invigorating, but it's still something so familiar, as well, because a lot of these stuff, especially once I started learning different culture recipes, like once I started expounding out of just American recipes, soul food, Mexicans, once I started doing Thai and Greek and Middle
Mhm.
Eastern food, and I realized like a lot of these foods are very heavily vegetable based, plant based. It's just, we have been conditioned like, oh, you got to add a little bit meat for your protein. You got to add a little bit, just those ideas that we have made it into. It's just, the unlearning and the relearning. It was just incredible to me. So that's why I get so excited and passionate about it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that all makes sense. So, I mean, I experienced something similar myself in learning that actually eating vegan, it kind of opens up. It doesn't have to, because you could have been eating more types of ingredients before, but it tends to open up more types of food, either different ethnicities, like you were saying, or just different and more ingredients. So many people, I don't remember the actual numbers, but there's something like 30 to 33,000 edible plants, but the world market is dominated by like 30.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right? Yeah. And so, like you were saying, there's so much more that is out there that we can use, vegan or not, but that's already vegan because that's plant ingredients, um, that we can experiment and combine. And yeah, it can make it really exciting. Um, and so what also I've experienced personally is, as I've tried other cultural diets in the vegan realm, they always end up good. It always ends up better than I might have thought. Like if it's something I wasn't used to or normally wouldn't have eaten, I try it and it ends up being good. I'm always pleasantly surprised. Um, so yeah, yeah, it is. Sorry, what?
It's always like a great experience, especially with combinations that you're not used to, seeing, especially different herbs. Like
Mhm.
I find it so fascinating the different ways different cultures use the same herbs that that we're all familiar with, but they just create it in different ways. It's incredible.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. Herbs and seasonings are another thing, because at least in the United States, a lot of people still don't use a lot of them, even.
Right.
Food is like typical, standard, sort of stereotypical American diet is actually very plain, in terms of what's actually eaten. But then even seasonings aren't really used in that sort of very typical, like meat and potato and vegetable type dinner or meal. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. And then the cultural aspect is just kind of interesting too, because if you can also learn about other cultures that you're trying food from and try to understand it from kind of maybe their perspective, right? And the sorts of connections they might have with it, or why those certain ingredients are maybe used a lot in particular places. And it just, I think, fills out the experience that much more.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's so incredible. Like especially the like I say for example, one of my favorite ideas of food, like you said, that is just like they use their seasonings in certain ways as Middle Eastern food. I just love just the instant like herbaceous like experience you get. Like as soon as you eat a bite, it's
Mhm.
like that the food was made in big portions, but the herbs that they use, like the amount of like coriander and curry, they're filling as well. So it's like you get the sensation of just a great flavor experience, as well as feeling satiated without having to eat so much. Like personally, to me, that's what happens with that food. Like that's why I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I can take a break, come back to it. I don't have to feel like I have to just keep scarfing it down, because the experience is so unique to each bite. It's incredible.
Yes. Yeah. Those are, yeah. Additional good points is that other ethnic food is often very satisfying. It's very satisfying to eat, yeah, and I think a very well-rounded way, and often enough, because they are non-American foods, at least, or non-typical American foods, are more tend to be more plant-based, basically anywhere else other than like the United States, and So they're less heavy often. You know, you can eat a big meal but feel physically better about it. First of all, you're probably eating healthier when you're eating that way anyway, but it's just kind of lighter food and doesn't make you feel like you ate so much, which is
Right.
also nice. Yeah. Um, yeah. So so I wanted to ask a little bit about, well, one more question about you individually. So have you always lived in Kalamazoo?
Yeah.
O-
Born
Okay,
and raised. Yeah. Actually,
cool.
my parents still live in the same house that basically I was raised in. I was born in another place, but yeah, same home, same
Yeah,
street. Yeah, so it's just
yeah.
beautiful how I feel like my I just come like full circle, and I feel like especially with my birthday just passing, I feel like I've just come like full circle of life, kind of, just kind of how
Hmm.
life just keep ebbing and flowing. So yeah, I'm very proud of being from here for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's a genuine local. Um, yeah, yeah. So I lived in Kalamazoo for like 3, 4 years during grad school. So it's kind of unfortunate that I don't live there now because not only so your ventures popped up after I had moved away. Um, but it did seem like, so even back then I was kind of becoming vegan towards the end of my living in Kalamazoo, but it seemed to me like Kalamazoo is a pretty good place, especially for its size, for vegan food.
Yeah.
Would you kind of agree in general? It seems like a good hub.
Yeah, definitely. And not so much as, the amount of, vegans or plant-based people. I feel like what's growing substantially is the amount of people that just want to try it. People that
Mhm.
just want to introduce more plants in their life because they just feel like they do not eat, you know, the adequate amount of portions, or they just, you know, don't get what they need from the food that they eat. So they just want an option that's there for, when they're feeling a little groggy or a little, just need something to give them sustenance without, giving them all the yucky feelings. People are definitely looking for healthier options, but more importantly, flavor, things that, are good and comforting that you can come back to. And yeah, I feel like um especially now with the introduction of locally sourced plant-based meats. Like I know my friend Josh, who works with Water and Wheat, he's been doing an awesome job at outreaching to these small businesses in Kalamazoo, and just asking them like, I offer these plant-based meats, and it'd be really nice if you have this option in your restaurant. And not only does it grow his business, incredibly, but it actually gives people a chance to see, like, especially from these bigger corporations, like there's, different options from Impossible Meats and, Beyond Burgers all the time. We can, go anywhere with this, work universe, especially with the plant-based meats. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's just awesome.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Yeah, I did. I might have seen Josh from Water and Wheat. I know I ate there once or twice um, as well. Josh was the owner or the chef, or both, the head chef. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
chef.
Okay. So I think I saw him. I don't think I ever talked to him, but it's cool that you're connected. I didn't know that, but it's nice to have that local sort of network as well in that space. So yeah, does the community outreach you're involved in currently, does it reach kind of beyond food, or is that what it's kind of based in for the moment?
Yeah, for the moment right now, it's based in food, but with the expansion of Meatless Melanin, my idea is I do want to be more of a transitional guide for people and helping just people becoming more plant based. Um, a lot of people, one big question I get is, how did you do it? How did you, even after the challenge, how were you able to stick with it? What were things, that was helpful to you? And I find myself answering the same question in a lot of ways, and I just felt like it would be a lot more beneficial if I have a platform, some way that I can present this information to everyone and kind of help in that way. And how I see in that manifest is creating like physical PDF guides for people to read along with, as well as doing cook alongs and making more like live videos, just kind of what I do, or and just showing just more the lifestyle aspect of it. But I do want to grow more in my animal activism, because I feel like that's yet another intersection of veganism that's still doesn't have enough of the people of color involvement. Simply because I just feel like the information is not so readily accessible, or I feel like sometimes with the weight of the world and kind of the world always being in a treacherous state, I feel like it kind of it gives people a good excuse for the way that they eat. I could be reaching, but to me it seems as such that people feel like my impact is so small on the grand scheme of all of this. What would it matter if I just stop eating less plants? Like, what would it, or stop eating less animals? Or what would it matter if I switched from tofu from chicken? Like, what would that really be doing? So, yeah, that's something that I really want to get more involved and get even more information about. Because there was this one book that I read, that I forgot the author's name, but it's called The Omnivore's Dilemma. And it's just an incredible read, just about the real psychology behind meat eating and how it's just been ingrained into us, and the difficulties that will result of being trying to unlearn just the way of the world that we have known as the way of the world. So yeah, that's definitely something I just want to just become more vocal about, and just showing that along with this lifestyle, it's not like you have to drop down and try to, you know, dedicate your life to veganism overnight. Donate all your money to all the organizations, go to an animal outreach company. It's wish it could happen, but it's all a process. And that's why I always emphasize my journey, because even though I've been plant-based vegan for so many years, it's still a journey where I'm going to continue to learn and continue to become more informed, and my activism is eventually going to grow from there.
Yeah. Wow. That's yep. That's really cool. Yeah, I really like it. It's like after this interview, after this talk here, I've gotta go like process a lot of this, and yeah, I really think what I can do with this information from you, because this is really cool stuff. It's really inspiring. So yeah, well, I think with that sort of view towards the future, it's a good place to perhaps to wrap this conversation up for now. Um, but so I want to say thank you again, Cierra, for being here and giving your time and telling us your story and all the things that you're involved in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I appreciate you giving me this platform. Like I said, it's just perfect timing, because I've had it already in like my psyche and kind of manifesting. Like, I do want to expound on my activism, especially for the little critters that can't really have a voice for themselves, and speak up for their rights and what they need. And yeah, it's just incredible, like just perfect timing. And I love just how many resources are available on the organization site, and all the
Mhm.
things I can read, especially like I was saying, that's going around the world. So yeah, like please let me know anything that I can do, and I can help out. Any other conversations you want to have, even with other people. So yeah, I'm open to anything for sure.
Okay, wow, yeah, thanks. That's cool. I can certainly do that. Yeah, I mean, I hope we stay in contact, and yeah, we can have something, to help each other out, right? Maybe going forward. So yeah.